Close the chapter last night on the Wolfpack. Just a lot of things to be happy about when you watch the tape. I thought our kids played really hard. Two things we talked about going to that game is play with great effort. We had to fly around and make plays, and we did that. We played with great effort. I thought we played tough. And those are two things on the back wall there that we talk about all the time. But those are two ingredients I thought we needed going into that game. And I think we got that for sure. Sometimes it hurt us a little bit on defense. We were too aggressive a couple times when we got to play a little bit smarter. But our guys were out there flying around trying to make plays and trying to, get a W. And that's what you love, So we'll have to taper that down a little bit and be smart, because we'll see, I'm sure, some trick plays and some things, some toss passes and everything else that you can kind of throw at us just to see if they can trick us into the aggressiveness that we played with defensively. And again, same thing offensively. I mean, we executed. And the other thing we're happy about is just, the discipline that we had. I mean, we had, I think 7 penalties. 2 of them were kick out of bounds. So that was, sometimes that happens. Especially with, trying, Junko out at the kicker spot, which I think he got great hang time. Wish he'd have drove a couple of those out of bounds or out of the end zone. So we'll work on that this week. And but the resilience our guys have showed. Like I said back in August, our football team is, regardless of who's on the field, the next man up. Our guys, have never wavered. It's not like, coach, how about this, or like they just buy in. I mean, everything we ask them to do, whether it's clean your locker or go out there and get it done one way or another, find a way to get it done, they have done. So I think, perseverance that they've dealt with all year has been phenomenal, because, there are no excuses. Nobody's going to care. You guys don't care on a Saturday after a game. You don't care on Monday at a noon press conference, why you lose or why you win. It's about getting the job done, and that's what our guys set out to do every week when we step on the field. And again, they've been just a pleasure to coach, and couldn't be more appreciative of just their attitude as we move forward. So Stanford, Coach, Wright is a heck of a football coach. Been around a long time, coached a lot of football. I think he's taken over play calling duties. Nate Bynum, I think, is their offense coordinator. I'm sure he runs the day-to-day operations and gets them in stuff they like, but heck of a Pitt man, great Pitt man. So we'll go out and visit with Nate. Hopefully pregame I'll get a chance to say hello to him. But just an outstanding coach. Obviously works with the tight ends as well and coordinates that offense. And then Bobby April is the defense coordinator. Again, they're pro-style on offense, probably more pro-style than we've seen, probably a little bit more like a Central Michigan type football team. Not as many personnels and big people in the game, but I'm sure they'll take a good peek at that game and see what they can expose us with, and probably, combination of maybe some Boston College stuff that you see, kind of that Bill O'Brien, Frank Wright offense. So you see a lot of that. They got talented tight ends, they got fast receivers, they got a Farrell kid that's a 10-3, 100-meter guy, and Gall Branson is their quarterback. And they've played 2 this year as well with injury. So, talented football team. And then defensively, they're 4 down, 3 down, probably a good mixture of both. So we'll see a little bit of both, dropping off ends and trying to confuse you with different stuff. So we'll have to be on our, on our stuff when we head out to California. So, questions?
The Night Stalkers package that you put in, how long have you sort of been working on that, have that in your back pocket, and Since
Monday. It was just a matter of saying, okay, on third down, I mean, it was like Monday. We game plan on Mondays and Tuesdays, but it was a thought on Monday, and then game plan Tuesday night for third down is what we do. And again, it's always just a matter of trying to find out, how do we get our best personnel on the field. It's third down, it's money down. And we got to win that down. It doesn't matter what happens on first down, second down, but when you get to third down and fourth down, like, how are we going to manage? And then you got different guys doing different jobs. That's the problem. And so they got to get it executed. They got to get on the right pass. If you are blitzing and all your 4-man pressures, how are you going to navigate those things? But it was really Monday and Tuesday, like, who are they? And then what are we going to do if we get to, to a 2-minute situation, we get into victory defense. I mean, there's all these, it just was a lot more to prepare for our guys. And they did it, like I said, they did a great job, but didn't, they didn't waver and go, well, Coach, why are we doing that? We don't have enough linebackers on the field. It was just, So it was, but again, it's using our base package and just teaching guys new jobs, okay? And that's kind of what we did. It's not like we changed, all the different things that we do in that package. It's the same package, just teaching guys different jobs.
You talk about guys doing different jobs. Cam Lindsey, first career start, I think he played both outside linebacker spots. He was in that third down package. How did he handle kind of all the things you threw at him?
He did well. I mean, first start, I think he did a heck of a job. He's only going to get better from all the reps he got in that game. I mean, it's not going to be like now when he goes in, whatever situation is, whether it's as a starter or is it, backing somebody up. I mean, you got more confidence in him. He's watched the tape yesterday. He knows the things he made mistakes at. And he knows he's got to be detailed. As we talked in here last night, it's every play. Every play could cost you the game, depending on who you're playing. And that effort yesterday might not be good enough this week. So we got to continue to get better. And there's a lot of things we can clean up from Saturday. And Cam's definitely got a lot of things to clean up on his part.
We talked about this a bit post game, but talking with when we were talking with Mason, even after you guys scored 53 points, the thing he seemed most focused on was just plays left out there, things he wanted to improve on. Just after watching some tape, did you notice anything? Just what do you feel like you guys maybe even do better on offense?
Yeah, there's a lot of things we can do better. Just like depending on the coverage and taking your check downs. I mean, late in the game, he took his check downs. Whether it's throwing to Joel's Goff that gains a first down on whatever it was, 2nd and 11, gets a first down. But just not trying to be the hero. I mean, he tried to be a hero, a lot the week before, and try to make those plays down the field. And there was a couple times where he tried to do that a little bit, way less. But there's times where he's like it's great to throw a check down and get 11 yards on. Let him run with it. You don't have to throw a 50-yard pass. You can throw a 3-yard pass and get 50. So I think that's just something that's going to be a week-to-week growth out of him, overall. And then based on the defense you're seeing and the pressure you're under, I think that all matters.
You guys are now leading the ACC in red zone efficiency, in particular with Mason behind center these last 4 games. How would you evaluate or assess just how he's looked once you guys get into red zone, decision making, things of that nature?
You never get to the red zone as if he doesn't look good prior to that, right? So I mean, you better be good to get to the red zone. So his efficiency, in the freewheeling zone, middle of the field, whatever you want to call it, and then working down into the red zone, it's got to be efficient. So I think it's the same. It's he's playing efficient football for the most part. As long as we, I talk about those penalties. I mean, the difference between our offense Saturday and our offense up in New York a week ago was just like being behind the sticks, man. It's hard to call plays and it's hard to execute when people got their ears pinned back and they can blitz you because it's 2nd down at 15 or 3rd down at 18. I mean, you get in those situations, good luck to you. Boston couldn't even navigate that.
Obviously, Mason's been a big story this year, but you've also gotten a lot of contributions from Lucy and Trey and Sean Lee and Josh Carrier. Do you remember ever having so many true freshmen making such a big impact?
You know what? That many, maybe not. I'd have to look back. You guys can maybe check the stats on that, but we had Jordan Whitehead as our honorary captain, and I remember he made a pretty major impact as a true freshman. It was great to have him back in town on Friday and Saturday. So, it's hard to say, but it's a great recruiting class. I think we got another great one coming in this year as well. But the guys getting opportunities and making plays. So that's we're blessed to have those young guys playing for us.
Pat, what went into the go ahead.
All right, finish.
What does that say about your staff's ability to identify and scout talent like Mason did with many of the Power 4 offers?
Yeah, I mean, it goes back to, I think it was on June 5th, and we were in the middle of recruiting weekends in the summer, and there was an article came out in The Athletic. I'm sure you guys saw it. It was June 5th, because I just had some recruits in this weekend. I was talking about it in my office on Sunday. That reminded me, just like, they ranked us as the '1 team in the country of developing talent, okay? Is it development, is it recruitment? It's a combination of both. I think there was an article came out in 22 or 23. They also talked about how they re-ranked our 2019 class. It was ranked 54th in the country, with rivals and all that stuff, Chris. And then, they re-ranked it and said it's the #9th, class in the country. So, how's that happen? I think it's recruiting evaluation. I think it's development and getting the best out of our kids. And I think that's what football is all about. That's what we do as coaches, our job is to take the players we get and make them better players and make them, productive on the field. So far it's been good, but, we got November 1st, we got another one ready to go. So find out.
Pat, what went into to the decision to keeping Dez on the field as long as you guys did, especially when you were up as long as you up as high as you were?
You're never up as far as you want. I can tell you that. It's fourth quarter. I'm still on edge on the sideline. So Dez wants to play. I mean, he was feeling good and wants to play, and Dez will be fine. Dez wants to play the game. I mean, Dez don't like being on the sideline. Dez wasn't happy the week before. Taking 23 snaps, he was upset. But we want to get him on the field, but we also want to keep him healthy. It's a fine line, but we're trying to win football games.
On the flip end, Joel's, was it single-digit snap count, only 2 touches. Just why was he sort of the odd man out in that game?
Bootsy's been playing well. I mean, we got, like I said, all 3 of those tailbacks, are good, and you kind of go with that hot hand. If Bootsy's playing well, you keep him in there, and it's nothing that Joel's didn't do. It's just kind of what Bootsy did, I guess. So, Joel's is a great player as well. Like I said, just talked about him, catching a big conversion for a first down in the fourth quarter. So we got a lot of faith in all 3 of those guys. And I tell you what, we got another kid that has got 4 games. Justin Cook is another kid that I think is a tremendous player. And I don't talk much about him, but in the next few weeks, you may see Cook on the field as well.
Now, what do you like about him, about Cook? What stood out about him?
He's a receiver, transferred in as a receiver, and we transferred him to running back position in spring ball. And, he gives our guys headaches on defense. Like he was, Hollywood last week, and he gives us, he gives us chest pains on defense. He makes plays. He makes our defense work every week. I think he's a special back too, and we'd like to redshirt him. That was our intention, just because I think the kid can play for us and be an impact player for us too.
I noticed Saquon Smith's not on the availability report last week. Could he play for you this year too?
He could. If we wanted to get 4 games out of him, he started, I think, either a week and a half ago, started to get in the scout team and going, and he did a nice job for us last week. So it'll be, he's available. So he's not on the injury report. I'm glad you mentioned that. So he's, our training staff did a great job getting him back and ready to go, and we'll just see how he goes here. He's missed a lot of spring ball. Obviously wasn't here in the spring, so he hadn't done anything in fall camp. So he's got a long way to go as far as getting in on offense. But who knows if he can help you on special teams for sure.
C.J. Lee made his first appearance the other day. Obviously didn't get probably as many catches as he would have wanted, but
just wish he had 1.
Yeah.
Just 1. That's all we needed.
What was it like to see him back on the field, especially with all he's been through with his injury?
It was good. Like I said, we were trying to get 4 games out of him as well, and I think we can use him in the next 4 games that we have, and the next one being the most important one of getting more reps. But I think you don't play for a long time. You're on scout team. Scout team is not like being on the first team, and we know he's a proven football player for us. He started for us last year, and we got a lot of faith in Mr. Lee.
And on the first day of fall camp, Kate was telling us one of the big things you need are chunk plays from guys not named Des Reed. Is it too simple to say that Mason's just finding guys? What's leading to the chunk plays we're seeing?
Mason's finding them, and they're making plays when they get an opportunity. That play to, Blue is a big one. You got to love those gigantic. Those are real explosive plays. But, I thought Kenny Johnson played lights out. That guy, he was unstoppable when he was in there. That was great to see. I mentioned him last. Compared to where he was at North Carolina last year, compared to where he is now, like just the development that JJ has done in that receiver room, and Coach Bell, as far as just the little things that he's doing, he's special, and we got to get him to continue to play at that high level.
Cross-country travel is more of a regularity these days, just as a result of conference realignment. I think you guys are heading to Stanford a day earlier than you would a normal away game, but just how do you let this long travel just not disrupt your week of practice as much as you can?
Well, the week of practice is going to be the same. It's the same Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday is exactly the same, except we're leaving a little early. So, we'll just, instead of them hanging back at the bridge on the Forbes or their apartments, we're just going to spend 5 hours on an airplane together and get their iPads all downloaded with videotapes so they can do their homework on the plane. It shouldn't be. It's like going to Syracuse. It's like going to Tallahassee. It's a road trip, and I think the more you make of it, the more it becomes an issue. I don't think it's an issue. It's a little bit of a time change. We go out and play. I think the best thing is it's an early game for us. It would be a major deal if we were playing 7:30 at night. Pacific time and getting off the field at 2:30 in the morning playing in the fourth quarter. I think that's a tough one. This one is very, very reasonable, I think.
Have you reached out to anyone, any friends in the ACC, other coaches, say, hey, what was your experience with the?
Yeah, I haven't, but Chris LaSalle, he's my ops guy, my main man. He does all that. He takes care of he knows what we want. We call a lot of people every week. Doesn't matter if you're traveling to Syracuse to find out is the press box any different, that little glass house they have up there at the Dome, or you're going to Tallahassee. How's the locker room? How's this? How's that? We're always doing our homework, just like a coach. I mean, we're trying to find out what they're doing on offense and defense, and we're always doing our intel on what's happening operationally, and what are the things that we need to get done when we're out there.
How do you keep this team from looking ahead at you've got 3 ranked opponents to finish the year, a bye week coming up? How do you keep them from looking ahead?
I think the only thing they may be looking forward to is maybe the open week. Okay, I'm looking forward to an open week too. But how do we keep it? That's my job to make sure they don't lose focus. That we're locked in again, just trying to win one more game. I mean, it's a one-game season right now because the rest of the season doesn't matter. If you don't take care of business, week in and week out, it doesn't matter. So, our focus is to win one more game and go 1-0 this week, which has been our mantra since I've gotten here. So we just take care of Stanford, do what we got to do to try to go out there and play against a physical, well-coached football team. And Stanford is really good. I mean, they beat Florida State out there. They played good football. I mean, it's a 7-7 game at halftime, I believe, last week against Miami. A really talented Miami team. So they got a really good football team. So we got to go out and play our best, or we'll get our tails beat in.
Will Caleb still be taking those kickoffs going forward, or do you anticipate Sam Carpenter sort of filling in as well?
We'll look at it. I mean, I think both of them are really good. I mean, we rested Sam's leg last week. We felt like I think midway through this year he could play. He could have kicked off on Saturday, so he wasn't out. He wasn't benched. It was just let's rest him a little bit, and so just resting the leg. I think you kick that kickoff is an explosive play, and when you're just you're practicing it on a Tuesday and getting some on a Thursday, not too many of them, you can outkick your leg. So just keeping him fresh and we knew Junko could do it. So was it what we wanted? No, it wasn't as good as we needed to. So we haven't been great, kicking the ball where we want it. It's been different. I mean, I think Sam was really good at the beginning of the year, kicking touchbacks, and then all of a sudden, we just felt like his leg was tired. So we felt like let's give him a week off. We just keep, last Tuesday, I guess going to the Syracuse game, he didn't kick on a Tuesday. That's our kickoff day. We work kickoff on Tuesdays. He didn't kick. And then we kind of, we didn't help him any by doing that. So we're just trying to rest him a little bit.
Is there a reason you don't use Trey on the kickoff?
Not really. I've never seen him kick off. We're just focusing him on field goals right now. I mean, I'm sure he'll be able to do it later on or give him more. But no real reason except he's a freshman, and let's just give him, the most important job is putting it through the uprights.
Last week there was an NCAA announcement, I don't think we asked you about it, a decision to allow coaches and student athletes to gamble on pro sports. Do you have any insight on why that would be something that was needed? Or
they don't ask the coaches. I think it's absolutely one of the stupidest decisions I've ever seen. First of all, it's a habit. It's no different than smoking, drinking, doing drugs. It's a bad habit, and I don't think anybody in here would encourage you guys to go out drinking and getting smashed on a Friday night or Saturday night, or at a ball game at Acrisure Stadium, and it's a disease. I mean, you saw the same day that comes out, there's a disease in the NBA with what's going on there, and it doesn't matter how much money you make as a coach, you're still gambling like that. It's not to make money. It's because your addiction to it, I guess. I mean, that's the only thing I can, and I'm not speaking for anybody, but I just think it's an addiction. And I think if you want to go to the casino down the road and hang out there and throw your money away, think you're going to continue to win. I mean, gambling's gambling. I'm not a gambler. I just don't understand it. I'm not addicted to anything. I just don't think it's a great thing to teach our young people how to do. And to say now, it's hard enough in the compliance office of trying to get your guys not to gamble. You can gamble on a boxing match. You can gamble, on horse races because it's not an NCAA sport. But who's gambling on the horse races, really? I mean, unless you go to the horse track. But like, and you can go to the casino and play, craps or whatever you want to play. But now, it's a thing on your phone, and you can pick it up and you can get on an app, and it's like, what are we doing? Like, and once you do it once and you win, you want to go do it again. It becomes an addiction. I just think it's not good, and and it's the same thing with these availability reports. I mean, what are we doing? We're encouraging gambling and people to say, oh, he's out. Let me put some more money down there, see if I can, get it done and win. So, good question. It's a bad deal, and it all comes down to they probably don't want to have to take care of all the business that goes with trying to monitor it. But push the wrong button on your phone, see what happens. Go, oh, I thought that I did it, but I thought it was an NFL game. I pushed the wrong button, and just put a bet on a college football game. I just think it's not good, and I'm not going to change my tune. Tomorrow I'll talk about, because I haven't had a chance to really address our team. I'll talk about a team meeting. One of the first things I'll talk about is I guess November 1st they can do that, but stay away. Nothing changes in our room. You guys shouldn't be doing any of that. Save your money, put it in the bank. That's my feelings.
Well, those availability reports were supposed to insulate the players, right? Keep them away from the gambling element, because you're putting that information out. Doesn't it seem to run counter to that, to then say, okay, but you can gamble? Isn't that sort of moving the student athletes closer to
I said the decision makers, I don't get it. So let's talk about Stanford. I gave you my feelings on that, Chris. I mean, it's like it's bad, and I don't like it, and I'm old school too. So it's just because I'm real old. Anything else? Any football? We got to end with a football question. Come on.
Okay.
Because on Thursday, there's no availability on Thursday because we're out of here.
Since I'm sitting in your old seat, do you anticipate any of your defensive players being back for Saturday?
I sure hope so. We'll see. It's Monday, and we still got Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So I hope so for sure. Thanks, Jerry. Appreciate that question. I said a football question, not an injury question. You're right. Thank you.